welcome to Bonds, where real stories and real strength actually comes to life, right here on AGTV. This is the Family Life Show, and my name is Mauto Sade. I'm your host for the day. Now, I believe you've been enjoying our episode so far. I want to take the opportunity to say a big thank you for sticking and staying with us every single week, week after week after week. Today, we shine a light on another very important issue: cerebral palsy, a condition that challenges the body but never defines the spirit. And we will hear powerful journeys of resilience, love, and hope, and how life is lived beyond limits every single day. Our quote of the week. And this week, our quote is from 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9. It says, "But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me." Once again, you're welcome. Do follow us on all of our social media platforms: YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at MyAGTV. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly.
Hey there! You're watching Bonds, the Family Life Show. Woo! A family that sticks together will always be stronger through the stormy weather. I have you, and you have me, and that's what makes us family. It's the Family Life Show. It's the Family Life Show. It's the Family Life Show. It's the Family Life Show.
You're watching Bonds, the Family Life Show.
Welcome back from that very short break. Indeed, God's grace is more than sufficient. Once again, this is Bonds, the Family Life Show here on AGTV. To help me have today's conversation on cerebral palsy, living beyond the limits, I have two very wonderful people here, and I'll introduce them in a bit. But before I do that, let's take note of this. You want to join Club 1000 Plus today. Now, AGTV Club 1000 Plus is a fundraising initiative by the Assemblies of God Ghana Television to secure monthly donations from 1,000 plus individuals, churches, and organizations. How can you donate? Contribute 100 cedis or more monthly, or any amount God lays on your heart via AGTV mobile money number 05567893324. Or you can also contact us with the information on your screen. Remember, your support keeps the gospel shining in every home. My name is Mauto Sade once again, and I have joining me for today's conversation, Mrs. Rachel Na Kokwekwina. You're very much welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Now, she is the president for Cerebral Palsy Ghana, president for all neuro patients of 37 Military Hospital, and a mother of a cerebral palsy child. Once again, we are glad you made time to be here, and thank you for making yourself available to share your story with us. You're welcome. Now, helping her have the conversation is Mr. Seth Q. Nublani. Oh, Mr. Nublani, it's good to see you again. It's been several years. I'm glad you were able to make it.
Thank you.
I'm glad you were able to make it. And he is the secretary for Cerebral Palsy Ghana. He is a professional teacher. He teaches chemistry, and he is also a father of cerebral palsy child for 17 years. So she's 17 years now.
Yes.
Congratulations.
On African Union Day.
Oh, that's just beautiful. And it's good to have you also in the house.
Nice being here.
So let's start off the conversation. When we say cerebral palsy, what are we talking about? And how does it even develop? I'll start with you.
It's a neurological defect.
Okay.
So it happens mostly from childhood. So when you give birth to a baby, it can be during, before, or after pregnancy.
Okay.
So, for instance, when we say before, during pregnancy, maybe you got ill and any medication was administered to you that might affect the fetus.
Okay.
Or after birth. Mine is after birth.
Okay.
So he had neonatal jaundice. I thought I had given birth to a fair baby, not knowing the child was turning yellow.
Wow.
And I didn't know anything about that then. And we're still at home. An uncle of mine came by, he's a doctor, and he asked me to send the child to the hospital as quickly as possible.
Okay, so because he noticed
yes,
that something was
wrong.
I
actually took him to where I gave birth. And what happened was that they asked me to just expose him to the sun. So I called him back, and he said no, I should insist for a transfer to a different or a bigger hospital. You know, Ghana, they would say, do you know my work? Are you supposed to tell me what to do and all that? But I insisted. If I hadn't done that, I might have lost my boy today.
Wow.
So I did that, and then I want to say a big thank you to 37 Military Hospital. They've stood with us all through the journey. So now, yes, actually, he was yellow, so I didn't know we had this ER thing in Ghana. I only watch it on the scenes, you know. But when I got there,
immediately you get there, doctors and nurses. When I got there
at the pediatrics unit, they just took the child from me. I didn't know what was going on. They just took it because I think they checked his pulse and other things, and they saw that it needed an emergency situation. So they just took my son from me, and then they started as a 3-day-old baby, his novel was not all gone, and he was so feeble. They were now looking for looking for the veins to put the cannula in it, for it, drugs and other things to be administered. I mean, IVs and other things. So later, then I was told that jaundice has climbed into the brain.
Wow.
So I am here to tell every mother, if you are a fresh mother, please be looking into the eye of your baby. Be looking at the color.
For that yellowness.
Yes, the color of your baby. For me, I feel if they have thoroughly checked my son, they wouldn't have discharged us.
Yeah.
That is what I feel as a mother.
Probably
because just 3 days and it has climbed into the brain, then which means
it must have been a serious case from the onset.
Yes. Then jaundice had gone to the brain, and it has damaged some parts of the brain. So they had to take out his blood, the whole blood he came with, and give him new blood.
Wow.
So his novel that was not off, they had to do something about it and pass the blood through the novel. And they told me it was a 50-50 survival chance.
Wow.
And that was a big blow to me. I was like, but God, I just gave birth. And why would you want to take the baby? Why didn't you take the baby then? You know, but God was merciful to me. I want to say thank you to Jesus. Thank you to God for how far he has brought me. He went through the procedure. There were no clots. He came out successful. But there was one Cuban doctor who I think did well to me. She came and she was trying to explain what happened, the whole procedure, and how I will be seeing my child not being able to do certain things other children or other babies.
By which time they would have realized that having gone into the brain, the jaundice must have caused more havoc. So the CP would have, come in then by that time, isn't it?
Yeah, but if the part of the brain that is damaged is what you see physically, the brain has different chambers, each one with its work that it does.
Right.
So they are responsible for the motor, that is the movement. And
so if that's the damaged part, then your child will have a challenge with motion and moving
and the
around.
Speech part too, and the intellect, they all have their chambers there.
Yeah.
So with a cerebral palsy child, what you see physically means that part of the brain that is damaged is what you see.
Wow.
So if with early detection and early intervention with, let's say, physio and other things, the other part of the brain can change the part that has been damaged, and it can help. It won't be 100%, but it can help. For instance, my son couldn't walk, he couldn't talk, he couldn't, but it didn't affect the motor part too much. So with physio, he was able, now he's walking.
Wow.
Yes, but his speech is still
not there.
Yes, it's not clear.
Well, this is 17 years of a life's journey and loads of experiences. Now, you were talking about the fact that it could be caused by anything, really. Yours was the jaundice. But what about you, Mr. Nublanui? Tell us a little bit about what caused your child CP, and tell us more about some of the other causes so that we can all be on the lookout.
Okay, in my case, it was a very beautiful Saturday to Sunday. My wife had gone to the labor ward. It was prolonging. Later I was told she had post-stem, meaning the time she have delivered has passed. So there may be need for surgery to be done, but they should be looking at the condition. But thank God she delivered normally. But the midwife who was on duty at the time did a very fantastic work, Madam Esther.
You still remember her name?
I still remember her name. And we are still in touch.
Wow.
She has been a blessing, and I said, God bless her.
Wow.
She came in, did some intervention quickly. It was the woman delivered. Then I was told she has severe asphyxia, a condition where the baby couldn't breathe immediately after being born.
Yeah.
So they have to take her through some process to help her. They put on the oxygen. The baby was becoming blue, so they call it blue baby. Then they have to put on the oxygen. Then she advised that the baby should be transferred to Kwalebu.
Okay.
She helped and insisted that there should be Ghana ambulance service, not private ambulance, because of experience. So, by the grace, Ghana ambulance came to our service. They took us to Kwalebu. Kwalebu did a very fantastic job. Niku, the sixth floor, they did a very fantastic job. We are very grateful to them too. So the baby was admitted for about a week. The mother has to go and give her the breast milk for the baby to be fed. So she will go and come. When the baby was discharged, this nurse follow up on us, the midwife follow up on us to see how the baby was faring, and told us that what she observed at the time of birth means that there were some few challenges.
Okay.
We should go a long way to affect the normal health of the child. So we should get ready for anything. Meaning she was preparing our mind psychologically.
Right.
And anything we detect, we should just rush back to the hospital.
Okay.
The first thing we realized was the baby doesn't cry like how babies cry in the night. She sleeps, and we were looking at her. The temperature was rising, then we rushed back to Kwalebu. They again admitted her for a week, but they didn't, at that point, they didn't tell us exactly what was happening.
What was going on?
So we just had to be going and coming. This nurse also keep on following. She will call us. At times she will even visit at home.
Wow,
when she's
that's
free,
a very kind person.
When she's free, she will visit at home. Oh, I just passed by to say hi to you. How are you faring? So at a point, the child was not able to sit properly. Then she advised that we should go back to where we gave birth to her.
Okay.
So we went back, and the doctor told us, oh, it's likely the baby cannot walk.
So by this time, nobody has diagnosed her of cerebral palsy?
Not at all. And by the 9th month, when we were then referred back to Kwalebu, the neuro clinic, the doctor told me at the face, said, you are a teacher. You teach a lot of people. Continue to do your work. However, you've not been trained to teach your own daughter. So it means you can't teach your own daughter. 2009.
I can just imagine.
I nearly stopped teaching.
I can just imagine how hard that must have been.
When that information was given to me, and then, because I'm a science person, he called me privately, counseled me, and mentioned the term to me, cerebral palsy. Both of us went back to our sciences
to go look it up and see
exactly what it is. I then got to understand the challenge ahead. From that moment to the house for about an hour journey, I was speechless. My wife was also speechless. Instead of taking car, we decided to go on foot. So we would walk.
To clear your mind, I'm guessing.
You could just imagine. It wasn't a present situation.
Wow. I want to say a big thank you to God on your behalf, because I cannot even begin to imagine how hard these past 17 years must have been, in as much as every single achievement in their growth and development is a milestone that needs to be celebrated. I know that the challenges far outweigh the small victories that you see. But we thank God for grace.
The small victories.
Exactly.
Yeah, we celebrate their life. We are grateful.
Yes.
For me, when the doctor told me, I thought, that was it. But unfortunately, my son started suffering seizures. Yes. So he gets seizures very, very often. Within a month, we have to go to the hospital. And then when we go, we stay for like a week or two. You have to take care of him when you come home, like 2-3 days before you can go back to work. So, work with targets and stuff. Every month, only you have problems.
Oh.
So it's not been easy. But I want to say thank you to my former bosses. They did well. They kept me there for as long as they could. They could. And I really appreciate them. Even up to today, I say thank you so much. Because if they had laid me off then, I don't know what my life would have been. But even though now I had to resign, because it got to a time I had to choose between my son and the work. Because one, he was on anti-seizure drugs. And then it cost almost about 1,000 cedis. My son's body cannot accept the generic medications.
Let's just pause there for a moment. I know that reflecting on these things sometimes can be hard, but we do it to encourage other people. Aside from the information that needs to go out for all of us to be on the lookout, because you mentioned something even before we came on the show, that anything that triggers very high temperatures can even cause CP. So even a common malaria, when the temperature of the baby becomes too high and all, we're going to go for our first break. When we come back, we want to talk a little about around what age, can we say that a child can be diagnosed of CP, and probably look a little bit into that. Do you get it as you grow old? Maybe at 17 years, can you still get CP if something tragic happens to you? We'll talk about that when we come back. Stick and stay. We'll be back shortly.
It's the Family Life Show.
You're watching Bonds, the Family Life Show.
For every moment you need to be inspired.
You cannot be prayerfully alive, and Satan will get you easy.
Vision without action is an omission.
Raise your head high, for AGTV is here.
It's the Family Life Show.
This is Bonds, the Family Life Show.
You're welcome back from that break. If you've just joined us, this is Bonds, the Family Life Show here on AGTV. Today we are talking about cerebral palsy, living beyond the limit. And I have with me two wonderful parents of children who have cerebral palsy. For 17 years, Mr. Nublanui has had his daughter with CP and Antina. We've just been talking about going over how it all started, how they got to know what triggered it. Now, I'm guessing that for you, it must have been the delayed labor and probably the trauma that came after that, when the child couldn't breathe immediately after being born. Is there any age area or period in the child's life that we can say it is usually within this period that a child may get CP? Does it progress over time?
It begins from birth.
Okay.
Early stages. But one good thing about cerebral palsy is that it's not progressive.
Okay.
It doesn't get worse
as time goes on.
No. As the brain is damaged, science students will tell that the brain nerves, when they get damaged, they are not reversible. Damage to the nervous system is relatively irreversible.
Okay.
So one part of the brain which is damaged cannot cause other parts of the brain to get damaged.
Okay.
So where it gets stopped,
that's it.
So it doesn't become worse with time. So it's not progressive. That's the first thing about it.
Okay.
And it usually happens around birth, around that time. Early stages of the baby is when these things
usually happen. You were telling me a little about the fact that it could be before birth. Yes. And even children babies who are preterm could shed a little more light on that.
Yes, we have one of our mothers who said it was due to preterm. She gave birth at 7 months.
Okay.
Yes. So after she gave birth, that time the baby is still forming and all
the
that.
Brain and all.
The brain and everything. So it depends on the stage that the formation has gotten to. Sometimes, those in the rural areas and other places, they don't have so much access to hospitals and stuff. So they might be living with such conditions and they might not know.
So
they can be detected later And unfortunately, this old people with
who spiritualize everything too.
Everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
One other thing that normally, from the studies show that causes cerebral palsy, one of these conditions is rubella, German measles.
Okay.
If the mother suffers from this condition during
While
pregnancy,
pregnant.
yes, accident and trauma can equally contribute. So mothers should be on the lookout, especially when they are pregnant, the first trimester. They should be on the lookout. At that stage, eating is difficult, sleep, everything is upside down, but they still have to stay strong
And stay
because
focused.
of our
Little
angel.
babies.
So
Little
in that
babies.
case, a medication can be administered during the measles while the child is still...
Which may affect the fetus, as you mentioned
So that's
at
what
the
I
very
was
beginning.
saying earlier on. So it's not like one thing. It's there are so many things that can happen.
Contribute to it. Let's mention just a few of the physical challenges, the ones that we can easily see and recognize as parents or as mothers that these CP children go through, so that if a mother is watching and is able to notice one or two things, can say, well, maybe this needs to be checked a little bit more instead of just relaxing at home.
All right.
Because I'm guessing, just like almost every other ailment or every other condition, early detection may play a huge part in their progress as they grow, you know. So please, tell us a little bit more about what things to look out for.
You should have a bond with your baby. So you can see a baby is so active. When you notice that your baby is becoming a bit slow,
lethargic, too tired all the time.
Yes, you might not. I always say that fresh mothers, we are naive. And the excitement of even having a baby would make us forget about certain things to look out for. But due to this, we are living with these conditions. So I'll be glad if you're a mother or you're pregnant, or you should look out for certain things. Like, for instance, what I just said, if the baby is slow. And for me, if I'm going back to the labor ward, before I leave the hospital, I don't care which doctor is on duty. You have to thoroughly check my baby for me. Because of that, my life is stagnant as we speak. There are certain things I cannot do.
Certain places you cannot go.
Certain places I cannot go.
Right.
It is not easy. So I wouldn't want any mother or father to go through the same thing.
Especially if it can be prevented.
If it can be prevented.
Right.
So I'm also pleading with the midwives and the doctors and people who assist in birth that, please, we are pleading. Thoroughly check. Don't do the normal routine. Just for our sake, please, thoroughly check the babies before discharging them to go home. You would discharge. For me, I was discharged, so I didn't know anything. What if I had been kept in the hospital? It wouldn't have damaged. People have neonatal jaundice, but they don't get cerebral palsy. Because it didn't get to the stage that it would damage the cells in the brain for the parts or whatever to happen. So if it's, as you said, early detection.
It's key.
It's key.
It's key.
Yeah.
It's key.
Then
we're going to add more.
Physically, if your baby is not crying, this baby there, she can sleep. It gives me peace of mind. Sometimes. At a point in time, the baby has to be a little bit naughty. You must keep the mother awake at least 1 or 2 nights for mother to know he's a mother. If the baby is not doing all this.
And the father to know that he's a father.
Yes, so that when we are celebrating Mother's Day or Father's Day,
we will celebrate it with joy.
Exactly. We should look out for this. If the baby is supposed to sit by 3 months to 4 months and is not able to sit, or you put the baby down and it's always crying, but when you lie down it's okay, it's an early sign. Rush back to the hospital. The doctors will find out exactly why.
What the problem may be.
Why? You pass that stage, if the baby is not able to walk 7, 8, 9 months, rush back to the hospital. These milestones must be checked.
Right.
And also to say mama, to say a word, to pick little words like mama, dada.
But people will be telling us that, girls talk early, boys delay in talking, boys don't talk early.
When it comes to this, You have to be
Yes,
very,
you have to be
Please,
very
yes.
there's
careful.
nothing like boy or girl.
Yeah.
When the boy or girl is not, the mama, dada is not coming.
Yeah.
You have to be on the lookout.
Yes,
you have to be on the lookout. And the problem is huge. Let's start talking solutions.
Yes.
Because I'm sure that as you have the organization and all, you know that there are several parents living in silence, agony, and pain without their voices being heard and all. What are some of the most effective therapies and interventions for children with CP? Let's start talking about that, Auntie Rahel.
Actually, when you say the children, most of them are vulnerable, but it's more or less for the mothers and the fathers.
They go through more.
Yes.
Explain.
Why I'm saying that is because the child might not be able to do anything. Psychologically, it affects us. Emotionally, it affects us. In society, it affects us. There was a time I was taking my son for physio. He had had seizures earlier on and everything, and we had to go back to the hospital for physio and other things. And I picked a normal transport, the church roll.
Yeah.
And we're going to 37 from Spencex. Do you know that nobody wanted to sit beside me because of my son? Because then he didn't have neck control. He was drooling. He was like all over, and I need to be holding him, adjusting his head, and so the church mate was like, Madam, if you can't pay for the seat beside you because nobody wants to sit there, please get down and let me load my bus and go.
That's unfortunate.
Yes.
But it's lack of information, isn't
Exactly.
it? Because I'm guessing that there are a lot of people who probably are thinking, I don't want to go near this because
it's contagious.
It's contagious.
Yes.
I was going to say.
First of all, I want to say that if you are out there and you have a child with cerebral palsy, it is no fault of yours. It is not a curse. It is, the stigma is too much. Because if the parents, you accept that this is what they are saying,
then
so
you
this is
also
what
hide.
it is, yes.
Yeah.
Do you know at a point in my life, I considered suicide with my son?
Unfortunate.
Yes. So I'm also here to tell everybody that suicide is never the option.
And as we talk about that and the hopelessness that could place you in, let's talk a little about the support system.
In Ghana.
The support system. Oh, come on. Immediate family can be a good support system. And I'm going to use Mr. Nublani as an example. He's a father that stayed. And we know of a lot of families that fall apart when we have issues as big as this. And nobody wants to be stuck in the loop and become stagnant, like you said. So they just run off. And he's still here. He's been here for 17 years. Yes, and we want to say Happy Father's Day. Belated though, but Happy Father's Day. And we pray that God continues to give you the grace and the strength, because having stayed for so long, the support you have given, I think it's just awesome and amazing. So let's talk a little about the support system. What can we share to immediate family, to churches, to organizations, to people, just generally people, so that we can help one another stand on our feet when we are faced with challenges such as this, Mr. Nublani?
First and foremost, I want to say we don't deserve sympathy.
It's not pity you need.
No.
Far from that.
Far from that.
Okay.
We have to understand that it's a condition that has come, but this one has come to stay. So they should understand that they are just normal like us, except the condition that has occurred.
Yeah.
So they should accept them in as one of us. Touch wood, you could be going and you have an accident and your leg is amputated. It doesn't mean that you are no more who you are.
Yeah. You still belong to that family. You still belong to that church.
Whatever you have learned in school, stay in your head.
Yeah. Yeah.
You may continue to do your profession if it's allowed. However, you are physically challenged. So in such situation, it should be understood and accepted and allowed to flow with society. They should accept us in. It's not curse. It's not anything the mother has done wrong or the father has done wrong or the family has done wrong. the stigmatization.
That's the biggest issue, isn't
that
it?
baby you have in your room there, nobody's ready to get closer. Some mothers who are selling, nobody will buy items from them.
Because their children have cerebral palsy.
I want to explain something. Maybe people will appreciate us more.
Please do.
Okay, so as I said earlier on, it's the part of the brain that is damaged that you see physically. As I'm talking now, if saliva should come out from my mouth, the brain will tell me to close my mouth.
Yeah.
And it's a swift thing, and I'll just close it and maybe swallow the saliva. But for them, the part of the brain that is damaged, I said the other parts of the brain have to now do a double work.
To try and make up
exactly. So like I'm coming to you, I'll come straight to you. But now the road to come to you, there's a bridge, there's a big gap. So I have to now go around the table before I can get to you. So maybe by the time I get to you, then whatever message will still get to you. But if there is something,
take a longer time.
So that is what happens to these kids. So if maybe you can see them drooling, you see that at the end of the day, if you watch them carefully, you see that they still close their mouths.
But it takes
but by then it has already dropped.
Drooled. Yeah.
You understand? So those are some of the things that people need to understand. For instance, maybe the child is so stiff. Maybe because of stigmatization, the parents or the child's mother didn't take him or her to physio. When you are a baby, the bones are a bit soft.
So they're able to move them around, they are able to help you to...
Exactly. Yeah. So some are corrected, some too are not.
Okay.
It doesn't have like, you need 3 months, you need 4 months. You have to... I went for physio and when I get there, they're like, Madam, it's not your time. I was like, oh, I came to help you guys, so let me just be around. But at the end of the day, sometimes I still get a session.
Oh.
So you shouldn't give up. You need to be determined. You need to know what you want. It's not easy. And when you go for physio, you should learn what they are doing.
So you can also be doing it at home.
Because maybe if it's a big hospital, there's a long list. So before it gets to your turn,
2 weeks.
2 weeks, 1 month, it might go back to what it was. But if you improvise, when you go for the physio, they are trying to stretch the child's arms and open when you go home, you have to also do the same thing. The things that you don't need any machine or but you sit there and you watch them do the physio, and then you wait for when your session, your time is up before you go. It might not do anything for the child.
Yeah.
And at a point, affordability, people can't even afford to do the physio. I know in some of the hospitals, the National Health Insurance was covering, but some, they don't cover. We need to let people understand that it is no fault of ours that we had these children. I'm a mother. That was my wedding baby. I went full 9 months. Why would I go full 9 months and want to bring a sick child home? Never.
It's nobody's wish.
Exactly.
It's nobody's wish. And I think it's very, very unfortunate that human beings as we are, usually things that we do not understand, we tend to push them away because we think and believe that somehow it keeps us safe from,
So it's not contagious.
It is not. We'll come back to the conversation in a bit. Don't go anywhere. This is still Bonds.
It's the Family Life Show.
You're watching Bonds, the Family Life Show.
For every moment you need to be inspired.
You cannot be prayerfully alive, and Satan will get you easy.
Vision without action is an omission.
Raise your head high, for AGTV is here.
It's the Family Life Show.
This is Bonds, the Family Life Show.
Welcome back from that break. We are having a conversation of living beyond limits, understanding cerebral palsy. It hasn't been easy for the past 17 years for the two wonderful parents in the studio here today. And we've been talking about the challenges. And it sounds a lot like challenge after challenge after challenge from all angles. Let's talk a little bit about mainstream education. Is it possible for a child with CP to go through the mainstream school system?
Right now, there's something being done called inclusive education. They've said it's inclusive education. But
Which means everybody
is accepted.
Yeah.
But before you can go to the mainstream schools, there are certain criteria. So even though they've said it, your child has to be toilet trained, your child has to be, they have, and when you come to CP, most of us are not. Just a few.
That's the biggest problem.
Yes,
isn't it?
just a few are in the bracket of toilet training. But also, if the government, the Ministry of Education, they are saying they are doing the inclusive, I think then they should have teachers, special teachers. With research as mothers, we have noticed that we have a lot of special teachers being enrolled into the system, being like after graduation, they come and they end up teaching maths, physical education. They end up teaching other subjects
instead of what
they are supposed to do.
Yeah.
So I think if the government, the Ministry of Education, they would make sure that every municipal assembly, they have like 4 or 5 teachers who have studied special education.
Capable of taking care of
exactly.
these children.
They have studied it, so they have the knowledge. But telling me to take my child to a normal school like every other school, and the teachers have no idea. Some have not even seen a child with cerebral palsy before.
And so they don't know how to handle that child.
They'll just go to school, go just to make friends and play and come back home without any impact. Because they don't have any learning materials. They don't have any assistive devices. The teachers themselves don't even know. Some can be kept in the corner. Some can be kept at the far back. Some can even be brought forward. But nothing is going, because maybe the person has an intellectual disability, okay, like my son. He won't be able to understand the science you are teaching. He won't understand maths.
Which then means that even though the mainstream system says all-inclusive, it would be more appropriate to have special schools for these special cases. Because if the mainstream kind of education...
If you say special schools...
Yeah.
We have some special schools.
Okay.
But they are very expensive.
That's the other issue.
And sometimes, even in the school, you would still have to provide a caregiver to go with your child to school, to go and take care of your child
while they're doing the teaching. Wow.
And that is extra cost. Even living with a child with cerebral palsy, about 17 years, still buying diapers. You can imagine. You're a parent and you are a mother and you are even trying to toilet train your child to stop using diapers because it's extra cost. But we are living with it for life.
For so many years.
You can imagine those who can't even afford 3 square meals. Some are on anti-seizure drugs. So they'd rather look for to buy the drugs and not take care of themselves. I even got also along the line because I need to starve sometimes for my son.
To be able to take care of your child.
Because sometimes when he doesn't eat, he becomes very hyper. When he's not fed well and he is not... So I make sure he's very satisfied for me to go hungry.
Wow.
Because I was a single mother trying to survive with my son. And if he's hungry, anything can trigger seizures. And being in the hospital too is not easy. It's tiring.
So you want to avoid that too as much as possible.
Exactly. And with that, as I speak, I have a spinal cord problem. Once in a while it comes. Because he didn't walk early. I have to be carrying him. I have to be carrying him. Recently, I want to say this. They are not liable. My son, when I was sick, I didn't know he could take care of me. He would come and ask me, even though he can't talk, Mama, water. Like you, and he'll go to the fridge and get me water. And it's brought me some kind of, because mostly when you see other parents and children, they are relating, chatting. You wish your child can also do the same, but it's different. So the support system, they say is there. I'll use the word they say, but I don't think they are. In reality, they are taking some of them in the schools, all right. But unless there's a special teacher in the school before the child would have. And now when you take the child to the school, so you, the parent, have to go and find the municipal assembly, or the headmistress has to, the special education units, the headmistress have to write. But I feel those in those offices should be doing, they should go around.
Yeah.
In the municipal, we have like 50 schools. It should be going around. I think people should stop sitting in the offices and get on the field.
And do the job. That's why I called her the passionate mother. I like the way she's just saying it. Get up out of the office, go to the field and do the job.
You need to understand me. I feel that at least if my boy can't even speak, there should be a way. You know, in other parts of the world, they have different ways of teaching them.
Yeah.
Even if we can't afford, some parents can still afford. So if you are doing the inclusive and you tell me to go and get this assistive device for my child that you have time to teach,
you would. Tell us a little bit more about what you think on this matter.
Definitely we have the special education unit at the office with the officers there, but they are few.
Okay.
And take note, no two cerebral palsy children are the same.
That's similar to autism, isn't it?
They are never, everybody's unique.
Wow.
So before the child can be taking the furniture, the lighting system,
wow,
where the child will be in the class, all these things must be taken into consideration. If they provide for one set, you know, if you come to our school system, we have the furniture.
All looking the same.
The same.
Yeah.
One that has already disqualified the child in a way. Then the parent must be forced to supply it, because by the time these things are supplied or the letters are written to regional, to headquarters for ministries to supply these things,
the child has lost 2 academic years
already. So these are the challenges.
God.
And the number of students we have in a class.
Say that again. Say that again.
It will not be palatable for the child to be there. It won't be a pleasant situation. A child be among 60 students in a class and having seizures.
That would be sad. But I don't even have the words.
Let me say it here. Nugua Secondary School has done well.
Okay.
It's managing special children at the secondary school level.
Okay.
Those with eye problem, we have written examination, assisted with all the facilities that we could marshal. She did well.
Wow.
We have one who is mentally challenged, also going through, physically challenged, going through, so that when it happens like this, those that we can accommodate, they have to, if it's physically challenged, their classes, regardless of the form, is positioned that they can access their classes.
Yeah.
And the headmistress and the school, I think they have done well.
I think actually, just to add my voice to what he just says, there are individual schools that if you go and check, the management is doing everything they can to give those children that have been brought to them with special situations to be able to go through the system. And speaking on that, from a personal experience, just as he says, we've had students who because of them, the whole class is probably downstairs because they cannot afford to climb the stairs. So whether they're in Form 1, 2, or 3, that class always is downstairs. And we have those with autism that we've managed to assist to go through the system and all. But I agree with you completely that much more should be done, because if it is all inclusive, then it must in reality reflect what we are seeing. But like he says, it's a huge task. It's a daunting task. It's a daunting task. Let's talk a little bit more about the role of the church. Both of you are Christians. We are thanking God for how far He's brought you. And when I see the size, I don't know what to think. I don't know. Should I continue with the question? Oh my God.
In the first place, does not even understand.
Lack of knowledge.
The Christian community is here to fully appreciate the condition of cerebral palsy, even to understand. Pastors, elders, whatever.
Church members.
Yeah.
Most of us do not understand.
Okay.
Because we come to Ghana, we are more or less a Christian nation, dominated.
Yeah.
Yet we have stigmatization going on. That means we don't understand. And the Ghanaians are the people who go to church.
Yeah.
So the church is what we are at home that we carry to church.
Exactly.
So the awareness is not there.
Okay.
Surely the awareness is not there. Because some of them who end up killing their children are assisted by members of the family, some of who are Christians. Yes.
When he talks about killing, okay, you know this programs that we are doing, it's having a lot of impact. Because there was one of the programs that we did, and we gave our numbers out. And a mother called that they were going to, they were taking the child to the forest because they believe that the child is a snake who is living amongst them. You and I.
In Ghana here.
Oh, please. We have a lot. We have a mother who the husband is outside the country, and the mother-in-law, somewhere in central region, I don't want to mention, the mother-in-law asked her to come with the child to visit. The child was still a baby, so, you know, as mothers, after a while, the breast milk, you start feeling pains. You need to administer to your child. So she was waiting. She said she was going to take her bath. So she went to the bathroom. So definitely you have to give the baby to someone. Not knowing they had planned everything.
Without her knowledge. Without
telling her. So as to, it was in the morning, afternoon, where is my baby? Somebody came to tell, we are here to tell everybody that there's hope. There's hope. When you don't feel you are alone, we are also in the same position. That is why when we talk to you, you will understand better. Because sometimes when people are talking to you, they are mocking you. That's what we feel.
Okay.
So I remember my son was on admission one day, and my son was seizuring. I had to leave my son to go and talk to a fresh mother who has been diagnosed. You can imagine, my son is like on a sick bed, and I have to leave him to go and support another mother who is a friend, and she was actually shouting. I think she had a little idea about cerebral palsy and wailing.
So the trauma she must have gone through.
And the churches, unfortunately, quote and unquote, some of us are too spiritual.
For our own good. Let me add that.
And we are so judgmental in the church.
You are over-religious.
Over-religious.
You are over-religious.
Yeah, exactly.
We care more about the rituals than the actual things.
And they feel that it's because of a sin. It's because there's witchcraft in your family. Because they are attacking you. So they don't need to get close to you. Even you are a teacher or something, you are trying to help other children. When it's yours, they don't want to help. Nobody even wants to come close to you. So please, I would wish that every church should have sometimes health seminars. Maybe after preaching and everything, they should give like 10. We are available.
To create awareness.
When you call us, we will come. To create awareness. People need to know that this is it, and we are living with it. We are all in different churches and everything. But please, let's love. The Bible teaches us about love. God is love.
It is not sacrifice when it's easy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even upon all the sins we commit, He forgives us. And He takes us back. He writes our name in the book of life.
I see how very passionate you are.
So why wouldn't you extend that love?
Yeah, to other people.
It is unconditional love.
Yeah.
So don't bring conditions to your love.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me just take your final words. I know this has been a sobering moment here on the show, but I would want for the viewers out there who are watching and the parents who have children with CP, your final thoughts to them before we leave. Mr. Numplani.
The child can be trained.
Okay.
They have potentials. It's only that we don't know what potential they have. They can equally be trained to be beneficial to society. So please don't throw them away. They are needed by the society. We need them. And there's hope. It's not contagious. And we are living with it. They give us joy. God, they are part of society. If society were to be made of people of only one structure, it's no longer society.
Yeah.
So everybody should just take it easy. It's part of life. There's hope at the end of the tunnel.
Thank you so much.
And I want to say a big thank you to my wife, lovely wife, Rosemary. She has been very, very supportive. And the entire family, the siblings are so lovely. When they return from school, they run straight to Dela. Dela, we are back. When they are going, they find they are going. And she also loves them. In the larger community, we are so grateful to you for the support they are giving.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Auntie Rachel.
Yes, I want to say that disability is not an inability.
Right.
When you go outside the country, like I learned Apple, they have a room full of special children and they are genius. They think of the things that you and I cannot think about, and they are being used to, and they are paid and all that. But we don't have the facilities and things. But please, get close to us. If you have a child like that, there are things out there we can let you access as well. So what I want to say is I want to say a big thank you to my family. I want to say thank you to everybody who has ever helped me, myself and Daryl throughout our journey. I want to say that God bless you. And whatever you have lost because of us, you are going to gain it in double folds. I want to say thank you to the descendants. That's my new family. They are awesome.
Wow.
They are awesome. I wouldn't want any other family again. Like, if I'm to choose, I'll choose them over and over again. God bless you. And please, keep loving mankind. Keep loving God. And love us for who we are. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Rachel Na Kokwe Na, President for Cerebral Palsy Ghana, and Mr. Ses Nublanui, Secretary, Cerebral Palsy Ghana. It was wonderful sharing the time with you. Thank you for the loads of information you've given us and for giving the people listening and ourselves here in the studio hope and heart. We would continue to do as you've advised, love, no judgments, no stigma, and we'll look out for information and knowledge so that we can better live and, grow our families. Thank you once again for coming.
Thank you.
For those of you at home or wherever you're watching from, we want to say a big thank you for joining us on this eye-opening and heartfelt episode. Indeed, cerebral palsy may present challenges and probably very, very big ones. But as we've seen, it also reveals courage, creativity, and community love. So let's keep learning, let's keep supporting and celebrating everyday life, because ability comes in many, many forms, and disability is not inability. My name is Mauto Sade. Until next time, have a good one.